So for those of us who are joining for the first time, Minds of Jamaica is a mentorship platform that tries to match or create a connection between persons who are trying to figure out their their career path and then we're connecting them with experts in the areas so that they can get a little bit of guidance on their journey. So today our expert is Kadian,
Big
and
up myself.
she'll be sharing her journey with us. So go ahead, introduce yourself, Kadia.
Hi guys, my name is Kadia Francis. I am a digital brand strategist and content developer, amongst a host of other things that I do in the digital space. I am the creator of the Digital Jamaica platform, which is a blog, a podcast, workshop series, people to watch series. There's a whole heap of things going on over on the Digital Jamaica platform. But the intention behind it was to fill a gap. There was an information gap, or there still is an information gap, as it relates to connecting persons who are interested in whether it's a career or operating within the digital space, and to persons who would have already done it. So you want to be a software developer, or you want to be a brand strategist, or you want to be a tech professional. How do you do it? What do you study? Where do you go? So there was a gap there in terms of information. There was also a gap in terms of my experience. There was also a knowledge gap. And the knowledge gap was, okay, what exactly do we mean by digital space? Because I think when most people think digital, they think social media, but digital encapsulates so much, because even radio and TV is considered digital. So there was a knowledge gap for people to really understand what is digital, what are the opportunities that are available to persons in the digital space, and what are the opportunities that you can create for yourself in the digital space. I am very much a believer in small island states like ours being using the digital space to advance ourselves economically. And I think individually we can do that, but societally we can do that as well once we have bridged that knowledge and information gap. So I consider my platform as a part of that bridge. Not the whole bridge, but at least a part of that bridge.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So I have a few questions for you. I
sure.
know we're only scheduled to go about 30 minutes, but we'll
Yeah,
see if we can answer all these questions that we have
sure.
um, in this time that they've shared with us.
Mhm.
So, one of the questions, oh, and guys, if you want to ask us a questions, there I placed in the comments below, there's a button that it's right beside the comment where you're able to share your question, and we will definitely go ahead and answer your questions throughout this live.
Right.
All right, so all right, so let's start with what inspired your career choice.
My love of freeness. Dead serious. My love of freeness. Let me tell you, when I was in college, I studied law. My background is law. I have upper second class honors degree in law, and I always tell people the upper second class honors part because I work hard for it, right? So ain't no shame. But when I was studying law, I realized that not only could I not afford the school fee, I couldn't afford the books either, because one legal textbook is going to run you almost $20,000, and my pocket just never did there, right? So I had to figure out a way to get the material that I needed to successfully compete, because I told myself two things. I am not failing any courses, and I'm not resitting any courses. This is a one-time goal for me. I'm doing it one time. And the one time I do it, I'm going to come out with not just a piece of paper to say I have a degree, but a piece of paper with an extra stamp on it, where say you get a special category of degree.
Right.
If I was gonna be a first class or some upper something, I was dead ass serious, because it's expensive. this degree is one of the most expensive to do. So I'd already set those lofty goals for myself because I was proving something to myself and to a lot of other people who didn't think it was possible to do. But then there was this obstacle. How am I going to get the necessary materials I needed to complete this thing? Online. I literally just started Googling. No, as far as I'm concerned, Google is our Lord and Savior. Okay? So I don't know.
University of Google.
Google is the oracle, the all-knowing, all-seeing eye of everybody business, right?
Right.
So I turn to Google as I always do. My first call is always to Google. And I was able to acquire some of the materials, and acquire some of the notes, and the books and stuff in very off-brand places. If you understand what I mean, wink, wink.
Right.
And I found all the material I was looking for, and I got very good at researching online and finding what I'm looking for and finding materials. And the more I researched, the more I found these free resources, not necessarily resources that you had to wink wink acquire, but like
Right.
open source resources that was available to persons depending on what it is that you're looking for. And I just started making a note of them. And to this date, I've accumulated a list of over 150 free resources online that I use in my business and to further my advancement in the space. So literally all of this started because of my love of freeness. I am now the queen of free resources. So I
Wow.
to see if I can find this free somewhere first. Then if I can't find it free somewhere first, cheap but effective, not just cheap but effective. And then if not, I'm gonna go, okay, fine. And I go for the more established platform. But there's so many things online. There's so many spaces, so many nooks and crevices and corners that we can actually go to find resources. So that's how the whole thing started, because I was hell bent on being a lawyer. And before law school even finished, I was like, well, come to think of it, I think
There
my
are
time would be
options.
better spent over here. And I literally shifted before I even finished my law degree.
Okay, wait. Well, I feel like it's always good to be rounded because we never know when we might change our mind or might not be passionate about what we're choosing
Mhm.
at first.
Mhm.
So that's always having options is always good too.
I don't regret it. I tell people all the time, if it wasn't for me pursuing a law degree and setting some very high standards for myself, I wouldn't have been here. But it's what you learn during the law degree. You learn how to research. You learn critical thinking skills, argumentation, writing, speaking skills. There's so many soft skills that I picked up while completing the degree, and I think that has been my saving grace. That has been what has differentiated me from a lot of other people in that space. So I don't actually regret. I think it was money well spent, actually.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
Um, well, wait, let me get the other question forward journey to your current career path.
It,
Do
it
you
was.
think
Mhm.
you said you wouldn't have changed anything, but is there any time during your journey that you had doubts that this would be what you wanted?
Uh no, because I actually, before the law degree ended, I was so involved now in the online space that it was literally a no-brainer for me, to be quite honest with you. It wasn't a thing where I had to really think about it. Do I really want to do this? Because there's nothing preventing me from doing both. That's the thing about working in digital space. I can work in the legal field and do this. There's nothing preventing anybody in this day and age from having several careers if they want to.
That's true.
So it was never a hindrance to me. It was never, oh, I'm going to choose this over law. It was, I'm going to forge opportunities for myself in this space, but I'm going to use my background and what I already know how to do, which is the legal space, and all that I would have learned or acquired during that space to push myself in either direction it already got. But the thing is, before I finished law school, I already knew I didn't actually want to do law anymore, because the thing about law is it is very, it's monotonous. It's a series of forms, and it's very structured, it's very rigid, there's no deviation, there is no, it's like this all the time,
Okay.
right? Unless there's like something new and exciting that comes up. But the new and exciting things that come up in law is always having to do with tech, because there's always innovations happening within the tech space that the legal world is not prepared for. So when a dispute comes up and it goes to court, that is where the excitement comes in, because now the court have to use some legal principle to figure out what the hell are they talking about, nano sims and coin, what the hell. But it is so fascinating to see how judges actually reason and come to conclusion, and that's what I loved about the law. I was the case girl in law school. You want a case, you come to me and I'll tell you a case, right? So I was always fascinated by reading and figuring out, how did a judge take something like uh, Bitcoin? How would that judge deliberate on Bitcoins? They don't even know what the hell a Bitcoin is. But it's not even the Bitcoin itself, it's certain principles that are in train right
Right.
across the board, no matter what industry, no matter how new, no matter how what. So the innovation in the legal space was also happening because of the tech and digital space, the expansion of those spaces. So for me, it was never either or. It was these two things are going to be eventually, inevitably intertwined,
Okay.
because we are fast, rapidly moving into a fully digital world, and COVID-19 gave us a big shove in that
That is
direction.
correct.
But Jamaica was tiptoeing around it, while the rest of the world was already gung-ho, like full speed ahead. We were tiptoeing. Now we realize that, oh, actually, we need to really get our things together. So you hear the Prime Minister talking now about, oh, well, he didn't realize that so many of our systems was manual and more businesses need to go digital, and it's now the conversation about the digital economy that we've been having for 50 million years, and the conversation about digital trade and stuff, because there is no framework
Right.
for digital, for e-commerce. So we can talk our heads off about e-commerce, but there's actually no legal framework right now to govern digital trading. So we're literally doing what everybody else is doing, testing and flying by the seat of our pants. And then GDPR came out and everybody's going, actually, no, we need actual legal frameworks now because these people are serious. So to bring it back to, there was no conflict, because again, these things are eventually going to be inevitably linked and intertwined, because tech is, I wouldn't even say slowly, tech is day by day weaving itself in our everyday life. I don't know what we do now that doesn't involve some bit of technology in some way, shape, or form. And it's just going to get more so. So it's not an either or for me.
I'm just glad that we're now having the conversation because it's now at the forefront of everything. So
Yeah,
we don't have a choice but to have the conversation about making the digital platform more accessible to others.
definitely. And what this has taught us is how unprepared we are for it. Because if Flow can manage a couple 100,000 people extra on their system without pop down, then we're not ready yet.
What are we doing?
We're not ready yet.
All right, so you also mentioned that you do both the online platform or digital marketing, digital platform section of it, as well as you wanted to still do both law and the digital Jamaica thing that you're doing. So how do you balance both? How do you make
I
it both
don't.
work
I
for
gave up now.
you?
I
Okay,
am now, since COVID, for the past 2 weeks, I have now I'm a young entrepreneur. So I'm actually doing this now full time for the past 2 weeks. I actually gave up law because I was saying, and I tend to go off tangents, but the thing with law is that it's very rigid. and it can get monotonous and it can be very distracting for me. So I was occupying my time doing this, and to this, um, okay, come here, Sue, answer that question. So with this is more exciting. Every day is a new thing happening, new people to talk to, new relationships to build. And I love excitement from my yard. Once I can do excitement from my yard, I am good. The other thing is I don't particularly like leaving home. I really don't have anxiety issues. So any job where I can do it from home, I'm good. So I literally went full time doing managing the digital platform, offering services to people, and in the background working on some other things, some other major things going on in background that I'm going to be announcing soon. So this is now a full time things for me. But before, balancing meant doing this in the afternoon, so having a morning job and having an evening job. And it was literally like doing two full-time jobs. Because the minute I started offering services, I then know I'm dedicated to doing something for somebody else. So a lot of thought, and I think I'm very thoughtful in the services that I offer, and I think I dedicate 100% to each client that I work with. So that was a full-time thing, and then I was working the other job full-time. So it was literally making time to do it in the evening. So the one job was from 9 to 4:30, 8:30 to 4:30, and the other job was from 6 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And that's literally how I did it for about 2 years.
Wow.
Mhm.
All right, so let's move on to Kamir's question. So he said, so with just lost it. So with all this move to digital space, what is the role of a digital brand strategist?
Good question, Camille. Thanks for asking. All right. So I'm going to answer that question with a concern I have. And a concern I have is that on the one hand, I'm excited that we're having the conversation about going digital. But on the other hand, there's this mad dash to jump online. Because we were not prepared before, everybody is now going, oh hell, we probably should have already been online. Let's try to see how quickly we can get online and get started. The problem in that is to get online and get started quickly, we're bypassing certain fundamental things that we need to have in place before we launch out online. That's where digital strategist comes in. So you can have your overall goals and objectives as to why you want to go online. That should already be in place. And my thing is a lot of us don't know what those things are. So we're just jumping online and we're do a thing and we're try some things and literally to see what sticks. With a brand strategist, that person will walk you through step by step the foundational work that you need to do. So understanding your goals and objectives, really identifying your target audience. Because the thing with the online space is it is huge. And you can be online talking some good game and you're not talking to nobody. You're just talking in a void because your content, your message, your brand is not being directed anywhere. Okay? So they help you identify your target audience. They help you identify the best platform for your brand because again, digital don't just mean social media, right? So they help you identify the best digital platform for you to distribute your content on. It helps you identify the type of content that you should be doing, the type of content that you should be focusing on, and how to optimize that content to reach the people that you need to reach, to engage them, and then to get them to engage you. Because online, it's all about engagement. You hear people say content is king. That's actually not true. What is king? If content is king, then engagement is queen. And in a game of chess, the queen is the highest on the board, right? So it's about engagement. And how do you build engagement? How do you build an online community? So it's not just going online and putting up some prices and say, oh, hey, I have a 20% sale, come and get this. It doesn't work for very long in the space. And the more mature we get as Jamaicans in the digital spaces, the more we're realizing that it's not a hard selling place. In fact, it's not a place to sell, it's a place to form and build relationships. So your business So your digital strategist will help you to literally create a plan of action, right? Because you have things that you want to achieve, and your strategy is what is going to guide you to the end objectives and your end goals. And your strategy also dictates the tactics that you're going to use to get to realize those goals as well. So these are the fundamental underpinnings of your entire effort online. So it's a guided thing. It's not just random. You're not just shooting in the dark and seeing what happens. It's guided. And that is what a strategist actually does. In addition to the strategy part, because I'm a jack of all trades in digital space. So in addition to the strategy part, I also do content development because, again, I think content and engagement. So this is engagement, this is content for me. I don't care what platform you are on. You have to have really good, solid content, value-packed content that is almost like a heat-seeking missile. If you have value-packed content and it's being directed towards the right people, and you can get the right people, you're going to do a couple things. You're going to establish your brand as an authority in that particular area. You're going to build awareness. You're going to build brand recognition, but you're also going to build community, you know? And then the consistency part of it. But the thing is, content creation is probably the hardest thing to do in the digital space. In fact, I'm not going to say probably. It is the hardest thing to do in the digital space. It takes a lot out of you to create content. If it's even a single post, it takes a lot because there's considerations that you're going to have to put into the post. Okay, is it on brand? Is it on message? Who am I talking to? Are they going to relate? How am I going to engage people? So there's several things that you need to think about when you're doing that. So I decided that I'm going to help people with their content development process as well. Because I think out in your brand strategy, you're identifying your goals and objectives, your target audience, and your content strategy is probably three of the most important aspects of your strategy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you advise a young adult or a person aspiring to be a digital strategist?
Don't ignore the foundational work. Don't, whether you're working with a digital business or a brick and mortar business transitioning into the digital space, you cannot ignore the foundational work. That's what you are actually there to do. You're actually there to help them with the foundation work. Your job is to make sure that you are understanding who these people are, because a lot of the times, and this happens to me almost all the time, they will come to me and say they want to do this thing. This is what they want to do. These are their objectives. But when you really go through it with them, you realize that actually, it's either you shouldn't be doing that because that's not going to get you nowhere, or what you say, what you think you want is actually not what you want, but you know that that's not what you want, but you don't know how to articulate what you actually want. That happens all the time. Because they're unfamiliar with the space, they don't know how to articulate what it is that they actually want. So they give you generalizations to say, okay, I want to do lead generation. What does that mean? What does lead generation look like for your business? If you sell hair care products, what does lead generation look like for you? Because lead generation is very different from a hair care company than it is for a service-based company. So if you sell products, your lead generation, your sales funnel is going to look very different from the sales funnel of somebody who only sells services. So it's really understanding what it is that they actually want and walking them, literally hand holding them to the process of getting them to really drill down on objectives, really understand audience. You're literally doing a training course while you're building out a strategy for them, because at the end of it, everybody should be clear as to what it is that you're supposed to be doing as far as this particular brand is concerned in the digital space. And there should be a spread, and by a spread I mean it should not just be focused on one platform, but you should build out an entire strategy right across platforms. So whether it's your website, social media, your email marketing, your text marketing, because there's WhatsApp, there's Messenger, there's DMs. A lot of people ignore the DMs, but that's why another that's why another lie, right? So it's really looking at what are the platforms that are available to you and how you can brand yourself across all the platforms. What are the strengths? What are the pros and cons of each platform? All of them. And then where are you best placed? Because you don't need for the everywhere. You don't need to be on every platform. You just need to find one platform that is where your audience is going to be. That is where you can easily connect with them and engage with them and build. And then once you build that platform, you can explore others. But you really want to solidify yourself in a particular place or in a places, and then you move from there. So that's all a part of the strategy planning, as well as building up internal assets, brand and content assets.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if I were a student looking to venture into this as a career.
If you
Anthony, if I was looking to venture into this as a career, as a student, what would you, as a high school student, what would you recommend as my first steps?
I have a special, I think that parents should actually be encouraging their children to go online. And that may be controversial, but I think we should actively be encouraging. Have you ever been on TikTok?
Absolutely.
There's a lot of young Jamaicans on TikTok making some crazy, amazing, funny videos on TikTok. The creativity is literally spilling out of them over there on TikTok because they found a platform where they can express themselves creatively.
Right.
They can actually monetize this, and they can actually be earning money right now in high school. But what they need to learn is social responsibility or digital responsibility. How to conduct yourself online, what not to share, what not to say, how to brand yourself. So I think there's a special conversation, a separate conversation that needs to be had about young people using the digital space and starting to brand themselves from now. Because what is going to happen with the rising technology, the workspace, the labor market is going to get real competitive, like real competitive, because a lot of traditional jobs are going to go digital.
Right.
The clerking jobs, a lot of the administrative jobs, all of these are going to go digital at some point. We can delay it for as long as we want to, but eventually it's going to go digital because it's just going to be cheaper to do. And businesses are operating not on emotions, but what is in the best interest of the business to grow the business. So a lot of it is going to go automation, digital. So you're going to have to actually learn digital skills. And in fact, I think we should be teaching digital skills as a part of the curriculum in high schools because these things are going to become vital. It's just as how you teach people maths and English, it's literally going to become something that should become mandatory. How to use a computer, how to send emails, how to fill out forms online. You'd be surprised that these are things that we cannot do.
Right.
How to sign up for something, how to join. It is sometimes sometimes I'm talking to some people and they go, how you do this? I'm going, in a real life? Like, but we just really don't know because we don't have a digital culture. So I think there's a special conversation that we need to have to our children or teenagers or young adults about the digital space, about how to use the digital space, how to start from now, how to get ahead of the game. Start building networks from now. Start branding from now. Start expressing yourselves in a healthy, creative way from now using digital platforms. So if this is something that you have an interest in doing, you can start on your own because none of this requires any academics. It really doesn't. What it requires is observation, research, and you're going to have to read. I'm sorry. You're going to have to read and you're going to have to talk. And by talk, I mean whether it's talk as in talk like this or writing. Because there has to be some expression of your knowledge base. So you're either going to have to put that in a blog or in a podcast or whatever, but you're going to have to start expressing yourself and exercising your authority on a subject matter. But it really takes research, it takes experience, it takes trial and error, because I've done a lot of testing, because and it takes fine-tuning your research skills to the point where you can understand what is a good source and what is not a good source, because there's so much information available to you online. The problem is a lot of it is useless to us because it was never meant for us. It was meant for some white Rebecca in California, right? So it's you have to get good at researching, finding good sources, and then when you find the good sources, interpreting what you learn there into the Jamaican experience.
Right.
Is that you plan on dealing with Jamaicans, and even if you don't, you still have to interpret what you learn in the global digital space to Jamaica. Is it useful to us? Literally,
Right.
that's what you're gonna have to look at. You're gonna have to sift through a ton of information to find out, okay, so this is the new trend. Is it something that Jamaicans would catch on to? Is it something that we would relate to? Because it's not everything that's trendy. Jamaican people.
Right.
We're not fighting for certain things. Right? So it's not every trend we jump on, but so it takes trial, error, research, and experience to start fine-tuning certain skills. But I think the number one thing is research. You have to be very good at researching and absorbing information. You have to have like a filtration system, a really efficient filtration system, where you're taking in information, you're researching, you're taking in information, and you're filtering out the foolishness. And then the really good core stuff is what you then process and translate. So it doesn't require the academics, but if you wanted to say, okay, what do I study? Go study law. I'm not go do a law degree. I won't even tell you to go do a marketing degree, because our marketing departments at our universities have not yet catch up with the digital world.
What
That's
about communications?
communications, journalism, any one of these things that will teach you critical thinking skills, argumentation, assessments, analysis, any subject area that will teach you how to do that. Even the areas in the, like, English literature, what do you call them? Language arts,
Language, yeah.
right? Anything that falls within that, fine. I literally wouldn't tell you to go do a marketing degree. I wouldn't. I think that's a waste of money, to be quite honest with you.
Well, they can multitask and use both. Hopefully they can
I
balance.
just think marketing in Jamaica is very old fashioned. We are not data driven. So a lot of our marketing efforts are not data driven. So we're just literally pulling things out of thin air for the most part, and again, seeing what sticks. So I don't, to be quite honest, don't have faith in marketing departments in our universities, because we've not updated the curriculum to match what is actually happening in the real world. So you find benefit in acquiring certain soft skills in other areas. But I wouldn't tell you to go do marketing.
Okay. All right. So what's one key takeaway that you would want any up and coming digital brand strategies, okay, to take away from today's Mentorship Monday?
Start reading. Start doing a lot of reading. Start absorbing a lot of information. But again, be careful of your source, you know. And then start talking. Literally start talking. Nobody would know who I am if I didn't start talking. And I never used to like talking at all. I don't, you hear me say, but I like people, I don't like people, I just don't like people. You know what I mean? But if I didn't start talking, and if I didn't start putting myself out there and again exercising my expertise in particular areas, nobody would know who I am. So you literally need to start putting yourself out there, start doing your research. Trust me, you're going to have to do a lot of reading. A lot of reading. But then the good news is there's a YouTube video for that. So, wherever you don't know, there's a YouTube video for that. It's just a matter of being careful of your sources and really being able to look at look at the market, look at what is trend and what is actually not trend, but a shift in consumer behavior. Because some things we look at, like for instance, I think for a long time in Jamaica, we thought social media was a trend or it was a fad, but it was actually a shift in market behavior. While the rest of the world figured it out, we still was here thinking, oh, it's something millennials do. Until COVID came and go, oh, is it? I know everybody jumping on social media. So it's being able to read a market and look at what the experts are saying, because you might think you're an expert in one thing, but believe me, there's always going to be somebody who know more than you or know something you don't know. So I am a big believer in experts. I love scientists. I love doctors. Because these are the people who would have dedicated an enormous amount of time in researching and testing and trying, and they're literally coming to you from a experience based perspective, and I trust that a lot, but I still do other research. So get books, find books online. I can do some book recommendations, read some books from marketing experts who have been doing this like forever, because there's always gold to be found in traditional ways of doing things. And in fact, the traditional ways never really go to style, it just went digital. It literally just went digital. So read more, research more, start fine-tuning your trend spotting skills, start fine-tuning your filtering skills, and start talking.
Okay.
Get
All right.
about the social media space, and just start putting yourself out there in a more consistent manner and at a higher level than just a user of the platform. Because if you're just a regular user of the platform, nobody cares about what you have to say. But if you're providing value within that space, then people start to listen.
That's true. And being knowledgeable as well, it gives you something to talk about. So,
but literally, what I do is every time I learn something, I come and tell y'all. It's like, look at what I learned. Like last week's Thursday night live, because I do a live every Thursday, guys. So last week, shameless plug. So last week I did a Thursday night live, and I talked about what I learned about online payment systems. Because for a lot of us, we're leaving a lot of money on the table because we are unable to collect payments from clients online. It's easier for somebody to literally just pop out them credit card and pay for something. Especially because I do online training and webinars and stuff like that. To tell somebody to go sign up and then to give them my bank account information for them to go transfer money. By the time they get there, go like, okay, no, never mind. Okay, bye. Ain't nobody got time for this, right? So I found workarounds. I am the queen of resource and free stuff and workarounds. There's always a solution to a digital problem. Trust I, okay? So I figured a way of working around it. No, mind you, it includes 4 million different pieces of application and software, but all of them free for the most part, and all of them can be integrated into each other. So it's literally I just found that out recently, and I'm telling you. So every time you learn something, share it. Don't be afraid of giving away information, because that is how you build your authority. Don't give away all of it now, but give away enough where people can actually get something substantial from it. And that is how you build yourself and differentiate yourself in the space.
Okay. All right. I totally agree too, because that's how we learn and that's how we grow, by sharing. And on the point of sharing, what do you want to share with us before we close out?
In terms of what?
Like there's something, a nugget, something that you'd like for, well, anybody who sees this, not just particularly persons who are thinking to be bosses in the digital platform, but your little piece of expertise.
The future of business is digital, and thanks to COVID-19, the future is yesterday, or when COVID-19 started, December 2019. So I want you to start thinking digitally. I want you to start thinking outside the box. I want you to start thinking beyond the borders of Jamaica, because the thing with being in the digital space is that there are no borders. There are no geographical borders. There are no hierarchy. there are no borders. You can literally be as creative as you want to be, because guess what? There are no longer the old guards who decide what is good and what is not good. We, the consumers, now have immense power to decide what is good and what is not good. That goes for music, that goes for movie, that goes for art. The old guards are not there. There is nobody there telling us what we should think, where we should go, what we should do. Literally, the digital space has said, run wild.
Right.
Run as wild as you want to run. Be as free as you want to be free, my dear. But be responsible at the same time. So there are no borders. No geographical borders. The only borders that you're going to erect are going to be the borders in your mind, and the only limitations you're going to put, the only limitations that are going to be there are the limitations that you're going to put on yourself. If you're a creative person, if you can sing, if you can tell a joke, if you can sew, if you can draw, if you're very good at speaking, if you're very good at researching, I don't know what you can't be good at that you cannot offer to somebody in the digital space. You always wanted to get into fashion, get into fashion. You always wanted to, whatever. It literally, there are no limits, no barriers, except the ones that you create in your own mind. The digital space, you can get as buck wild as you want to get in that space. And the good thing is, you can make money from it on your own terms, because it's not anybody who decides. The only person that you need to satisfy is the person who's watching. Nobody else gets to tell you if your jokes are funny, except the people them that think your joke is funny. Nobody gets to tell you if you're a good artist than the people them who likes your art. So it's the people who decided. The digital space has put the power of to be kingmakers. We are all kingmakers. Look at the people who have gone viral. Who did that? It's the audience who did that. And what has been happening? Traditional media has had to conform. So now you have TVJ doing them social media segment with the stupid people that will comment on them platform. It's so annoying, but don't get me started. Okay? But now them have them social media segment. Every you have CNN live commenting on the president's tweets. The president of the United States tweets is a breaking news on just about every news platform. I will not talk about what about the big ones. CNN, BBC. Listen, you have countries being run on Twitter, thanks to the orange man. Yeah. Our prime minister has seen his favorability rates skyrocket because of social media.
That's true.
Every single piece of information that we have learned about COVID is not from traditional news source, it's from social media, from the blogs, from the digital space. Whether for good or for bad, we are now living in a digital world, and we decide what's good and what's not good. We are the kingmakers. We decide if you can make it or not make it. And believe me, we love nothing more than an underdog. So just start. Literally chuck away all fears and all anxieties and all, I don't know if I can, I don't know. Just start. Believe me, there's a podcast out there for people who likes toenail clippings. And I'm not kidding.
There's a market for everybody.
There's a Harry Potter podcast.
There's a market for everybody.
There's, you see the weird and quirky and strange people. Oh God, man, they're thriving in the digital space because they find community. Find your community and serve your community, and you can earn online.
That's it. Kadia, where can we find you?
Okay, so you can find me over on the Digital Jamaica platform. It's I am the Digital Jamaican on Instagram. You can find me on our new website, which is www.thedigitaljamaica.com. That's where the blog and the podcast lives. If you're into podcasts, you can find the Digital Jamaica podcast on just about all your favorite podcast players, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever holiday. We have really good conversations over there. Start and build that discipline. We have really good conversations over there talking. So if it is that you want to get into the tech space, I don't know who we haven't spoken to in the tech space, and I make it a point of talking to Jamaicans or Caribbean people in that space because we share similar experiences. So it is easier to learn. It is really, come here. You're gonna plug while I'm talking. You're gonna plug while I'm plugging. Come here. Honestly, yes. And over on Minds of Jamaica, you can ask me any question you want to ask me about digital and tech space over there, and I'll answer. Thanks, Kamir. So if you want to get into a tech profession, I talk to people who have similar backgrounds as we do, so you can know that it is possible to do, and this is exactly how you do it. I give strategy. I talk about strategy and content development and social media over on the blog. There's a people to watch series that you can look out for every year. At the top of each year, I publish a list of Jamaicans, mostly like 99% Jamaicans, who I think are people that we need to pay attention to for the next coming year because they're doing some really awesome, amazing things. Kamir was on that list the last time. Yeah, that's 2 years old, and it it is funny how literally that started because I was seeing people in this space who were doing really good things and they weren't getting the recognition, and I'm seeing people in the space who only pretty and not nothing, and everybody talking about them. I was like, I'm gonna talk about the people that I want to see. I'm gonna talk about the people that I'm seeing doing the work, and that's how the people to watch series come up. If you're interested in learning about the digital space, whether it's brand development, content, strategy, I don't know what I don't teach in the digital space. I also have workshops that you can visit my website, kadiafrancis.com/workshops, and see what workshops are there. I have a workshop coming up it's called Hacking Your Social Media Growth. It's for persons who want to get online and want to start growing quickly. That is coming up at the end of this month. So if you're interested in that, there's that. And yeah, listen, I don't know what I don't do. I'm on Twitter. I am on I do have a podcast, Monique Allen. It's called the Digital Jamaica Podcast, and you can find it on any podcast player. I am everywhere. Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Castbox. I am on all of them. Just look for the Digital Jamaica Podcast. And go read the blog. A lot of people don't read it, but there's so much things I give away on that blog that y'all need to go read it for like real. But yeah.
And again, you have live on Thursdays. So once they follow you on Instagram.
I didn't realize that. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. You don't realize that you do so much things. All right. So I have an Instagram live that I used to do every Thursday, but now it's every Sunday and Thursday because there's so much things to talk about. So literally I talk about anything having to do with strategy. I mostly talk about tools. Who says go bring listening tonight? I go binge listening tonight. Oh, thanks, Monique. On the live, I sometimes go solo or I sometimes invite guests, but it's a scripted live, meaning I actually do real research to come and tell y'all things, because what I don't want to do is come tell them the foolish studies and then here's a kid I did say, because still building a reputation.
Right.
So yeah, so I literally research and come to you and tell you guys what I found out about a different topic. So last week Sunday I was supposed to do my COVID revelations. I didn't get a chance to do it because a migraine I've been carrying this migraine since last week Friday, and it refuses to go away. So I'm in the end stage of it now where I'm feeling better, but still not 100%. So yesterday was the worst of it. So I literally couldn't do anything yesterday. So I'm gonna move that live to maybe tomorrow. I think that live is probably gonna be tomorrow because I recently did a presentation on post-COVID planning, because panicking is not gonna help nobody right now. We need to be using this time to plan. I'm not saying that the self-care and all that is not important, but put some planning work. intersperse the relaxing and the self-care with actually doing some work to improve your brand or yourself in some way. So I did a presentation talking about post-COVID planning and what businesses should anticipate and how to position and pivot. And I just wanted to share some of what I did in the presentation. So I did some predictions, some business predictions, and that's what I wanted to share. So I'll be doing that. I'll be doing that live tomorrow night. But then this Thursday night, I have a special guest that I'm not ready to talk about yet. But it's gonna be a continuation of the conversation that we were having last week with online payment platforms. So some persons have asked me to actually do a part two, talking about some other platforms. So I'm gonna be doing that, and I'm gonna invite a special guest on. You guys are gonna have to wait until Wednesday to find out who that is. And we're gonna have a really good discussion about a platform that that person also is building out that is already well established in Jamaica that very few people actually really know about, as well as I'm trying to get some more information on some of the platforms, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but our banks are now getting into e-commerce. All of a sudden, them discover the e-commerce space.
Right?
All we need y'all to
Shocking.
do is to integrate. That's all we need y'all to do. We don't need, anyways. I'm not gonna start. So I'm going to be looking at some of what the banks are offering in terms of e-commerce space as well. So I'm researching that so you guys will know what are the options, which banks are offering what. Plus, I'm going to have a special guest on. So you guys will see the notification go up on Wednesday where you can tap to set a reminder so you don't miss it. It's going to be great. But in the meantime, you can sign up to the Thursday Night Live uh, email list, and you automatically receive all the videos, all my notes and everything, and you get notified who the guests are. You can even suggest guests and vote on guests, and you get free access to some of my webinars and workshops or discounts on some of my webinar and workshops. So join the Digital Jamaica community and you get some freeness. So
I'm excited, so I know everybody else must be excited as well. I cannot wait for your podcast. I'll definitely be joining, of
no,
course.
the
And
podcasts
I
are
think
out there. I have
not your
20
podcast,
episodes.
you're live of
Okay.
it. And I'm just so
If
excited to
you go,
be.
somebody asked where's the sign up. If you go to my page and click links, right? If you scroll to the bottom, it says sign up for the Thursday Night Live. Yeah. So
All right.
every Monday you get a notification with the past Thursday Night Live video, who is coming up next, and all the information. So you get notified before everybody else. Where can I sign up? Go to my page, the Digital Jamaican on Instagram. Go to links, click the link in my bio, and scroll down to the bottom. It says join the Thursday Night Live gang, and literally just go there and sign up.
Any other questions?
And to listen to the podcast, literally just open any podcast player and just search the Digital Jamaica podcast. I'm the bright yellow and black cover over there. I think I'm the brightest cover. I'm over there. It's some really good listening. I've spoken to some amazing people.
I've been looking for new podcasting, so I'm so excited to be a part of Minds of Jamaica with you, Kadia.
Definitely,
You have been doing amazing, and I'm just so proud of you and the platform you have created.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it. And
you're
thanks for
welcome.
coming here for the invitation to join. It was my first invitation to join a professional group, so I'm excited about that.
I'm sure there'll be more. I'm hoping you're not you're not stretched.
Oh man, I'm overwhelmed. That's all hell, but it's good. It's good.
Okay. Monique is asking, are the lives saved as well?
All the live videos, Monique. So I do save the lives and I do edit them and I put in captions and everything and I send them to you, so you will have a copy of the lives as well as the show notes for the lives if I prepared show notes. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna close this out because I'm sure we are over our 30 minutes that Camille suggested.
Way over the 30
suggested.
Right.
And I just want to thank you again for your time, Kadia. We truly, truly appreciate you.
Thanks for the invitation. I appreciate it.
And for all the persons who want to know how to contact Kadia on Minds Off, so you can go to the mindsoff.com and you can definitely reach out by sending questions, and she'll be able to respond to you. We'll also be saving this live and we'll be posting it on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't followed us, please go ahead and follow us on YouTube.
Definitely.
All right. So
All right. Thank you, guys.
you're welcome, and thank you.
Yeah, man.
Bye.
Bye.
And thanks to everyone for signing in tonight.
Thanks for joining, guys.